Klika here. I'm the Director of Athletics here at Fitness Quest 10. And one of the basis of our movement programs with our young athletes as well as our experienced professional athletes is teaching them to not only accelerate and get faster, but to decelerate. I use the example all the time. You think about some of the more successful NFL football players, and you look and you see their times. They're not necessarily the fastest in the league. Some of the most successful running backs aren't the fastest players in the league. They just have more body control than other players. They're able to accelerate, decelerate, change direction better than anybody else. So we want our athletes, you can't always be the fastest on the team, but we can teach our athletes to control their body. When they control their body, they can improve their performance, and overall, they can prevent injury. So the first thing that we do in regards to controlling the body is we teach deceleration. And that's just your body's ability to not only accelerate itself, but we got to be able to stop all that acceleration being created. We need to be able to decelerate. We start in a vertical plane, in jumping. We don't necessarily start teaching to decelerate in running because that's a lot of load for the body to deal with, especially a young, inexperienced body. We start with our plyometric program, with our jumping, teaching that deceleration. So first thing we do is we're going to come down into a squat. We spend a lot of time teaching our athletes to squat. If an athlete can squat, they can do just about any other athletic movement. So I'm going to start my squat, elbows on the knees, and then we're going to tell the athlete to look up as high as they can. That immediately is going to put their upper back into that extension so it's nice and flat. So my weight's even over my feet, my head's up, my chest's up. So I got a good squat position here. If I can hold this position, it means I'm strong enough. So I'm going to come down. When I jump, I'm going to land right back in the position I started from. That's so important. We've been working with all of our young athletes. Too many of them have learned to jump with no decelerating motion at the end. That's a lot of impact in the body. You do that over and over and over again. Not only are you not learning other movement patterns well, but you're putting a lot of stress in your body. So down in that squat, head up, chest up, jumping and landing just like that. So we just learned to decelerate gravity and to decelerate our body weight down towards the ground. Once our athletes can do that without rounding out their back, they can do it effectively, then we move on. Now, we want to keep most of the force in a vertical plane to start, because once we start running forward, that's going to add a whole new host of issues. So the second thing we're going to do to teach our deceleration is just start from a standing position, and we're going to drop and split into a lunge and come back up. We're going to bring the right leg up, forward, drop into a lunge. Left leg up, drop into a lunge. Right leg up, drop into a lunge. And the reason we start there is we don't have to worry about all that force going forward and back. With young athletes, that force really makes it tough for them to learn this new skill. So again, watch. Right leg's up, I'm going to drop down. Now, if you look at my stance here, my stance is fairly wide, my knees slightly forward, I've still got my arms engaged and my chest is up. What you'll see with a lot of young athletes is they don't have the strength and they'll collapse in. That can be due to tight hip flexors or just general lack of body awareness. So before we add that component of running, we're going to be here, up, drop down. Up, switch, drop down, chest stays up. Then finally, when they can do the jump, they can do the drop, we're going to add movement into it. We start at about 50% speed. We don't start with them sprinting, we start at about 50% speed. So we start here, we're going to give them a clear end stopping point. So I'm going to stop here at this line. So we're going to run up. Now we tell our athletes to slowly, your hips are an anchor. We want our athletes, when they decelerate, to feel all their body weight go from equally distributed to all below their waist. So as they approach the line, this anchor starts to drop. We want their legs to get very heavy. Their legs, their steps shorten up. They get low, and then they stop. So at a high speed, at regular speed, it's going to look like this. I'm going to be here, hips drop, I'm here. Now, a couple important things. What they found with research, particularly female athletes, they like to throw a leg out in front of them as they decelerate. They throw a leg out. Naturally, the further I get my leg out in front of my body, the quicker I can stop. The problem with that is when you get a leg out in front of you straight, it's a very, very unstable situation. Also, from a performance standpoint, there's not much I can do with one leg way out in front of me. So really have an eye for this as a coach, and we really watch for it. So again, We're going to be here, come down, hips drop, boom, just like that. We practice that over and over and over and over again. For these drills and other drills to help with performance, please refer to our website, www.fitnessquest10.com.